Right next to the news, we have our own stew. WIDR Kalamazoo. Right next to the news, we have our own stew. WIDR Kalamazoo. Right next to the news, we have our own stew. WIDR Kalamazoo.
WIDR Kalamazoo. Oh, we're here for you. Oh, we're here for you on Kzoo Food. Welcome back, everybody, to Kzoo Food.
Beautiful,
Here
beautiful.
on 89.1 WIDRFM. I'm Cully.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Dan.
And we are back with another hot episode. Y'all loved that pizza episode.
I mean,
that went crazy.
Smash the pizza episode, without a doubt. Cully, get that guitar off your neck there. Thank you, Cully, for that, for serenading us here in the studio
beautiful.
today.
Absolutely
as well as
fantastic.
christening your ears here at the station.
I am just so glad to be back in the live studio here with both of you, recording this podcast. How have y'all been?
course.
Honestly, it's been a week.
And hold up, welcome, Dan, to Kzoo Food.
Yeah, it's great to have another guest.
Another guest here.
Thank
someone
you.
who
I'm glad you
enjoys-
invited me. I'm very happy to be here today.
Dan, so tell me, what's your favorite food?
Okay, well, here's the thing. I can't just go like a favorite food. That's like a lot. There's so many good foods.
That's
I
so
just
true.
can't.
That's so
I just
true.
could not settle on one. But I could give you dessert. And my favorite dessert, German chocolate. German chocolate cake.
German chocolate
chocolate
cake.
cake.
What
It's so
about
good.
the German's chocolate cake makes it so yummy to you, Dan?
It's the coconut. The
What?
coconut and the sugar.
Gotcha.
Where's the coconut at in the cake?
It's in the frosting.
It's in
In the frosting. There's flakes of coconut in the frosting.
Gotcha.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Cully,
it's
your
so
favorite
good.
food?
My favorite food? Okay, we're just going around. That's a great question. I can't believe we've never answered it before. But if someone asked me, Cully Cooper, what is your favorite food? What food would make you happiest to eat? What are you doing?
We got to talk about Chinese food, bro. It's not dessert episode. It's not Cully's favorite food. It's Chinese food, bro.
I know.
We're
But
wasting
you
10
asked-
minutes here.
Okay. Genuinely, absolutely. Like, my favorite food in the world is a rice and a curry.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like it could be any rice, any curry. I would probably be happiest with that, just in any situation. But make it spicy, folks. Lots of veggies. How about you, Ryan?
My favorite food is I might have spoiled it. It's Chinese food. Which just so happens to be what we're talking about today,
Yes, folks. Today is the
crazy.
Chinese takeout episode of Kzoo Food.
Love. I mean, you cannot go wrong with any Chinese takeout.
No, you
I mean,
cannot.
you can sometimes.
Oh, well, we'll get to that.
That's true. That's true.
We'll get to that later here. So, Dan, being our guest, define Chinese takeout to me. When you hear Chinese takeout, what comes to mind?
What comes to mind are those like 30-year-old signs that you see that have the pictures of the food that like they all look the same at every Chinese restaurant. Every
Same
good
plate,
Chinese
same plate,
restaurant.
same
Yeah,
background.
Exactly.
Like almost photo. It's like maybe photoshopped at some points too.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
the
for sure,
chicken.
for
Oh
sure.
my gosh, that is definitely a Photoshop.
Dragged in. Yeah.
Drag and drop
You got
picture.
that from Giphy stock photos, man. Like, I promise you.
But I'm still ordering it.
100%. Because they got better things to do than take pictures of the food. And I don't care what it looks like. If anything,
Exactly.
the more brown it is, the better. You know what I mean? Like,
I get you.
when it gets to that point where all the spices have just kind of rendered it brown, that is like the best Chinese food. The best Chinese food is just brown.
Understood.
Yeah.
That is. I mean, I
Sorry,
can't
gang.
disagree with
Sorry,
that either.
gang. Like, look at it. Besides those little lumps of broccoli in there.
So that's your definition of Chinese takeout? Is
You don't like the broccoli?
no, I love it, but I need it to be brown.
Oh, it needs to be like soaking,
Soaking in sauce.
just soggy.
Yeah.
salty.
Soggy, salty, savory, umami deliciousness. Yeah, and like Dan, I agree. I think I would also define it as sort of like it's universally not the same, but it's universally like ubiquitous. It's one dish at one place is often very, very similar to another dish at another place, which is true of like all sort of dishes,
Especially Americanized dishes.
Americanized dishes,
Yeah.
but I think exemplified in Chinese food.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. But if I were to define it, the little white boxes, the dripping little white boxes is all I would say.
The ones with the rice in it that like fold over.
You know exactly what they look like.
And
You know
like
what they
it's
look
got to
like.
be double bagged up, maybe.
It's got a paper clip that was bent at the top that you can maybe
Yeah.
you don't want to use it, but it's there.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
sure,
the little handle. What's that about?
but it's like the cheapest
you're-
metal that it's like
yeah.
malleable still. It's like
just makes it so you can't microwave it, honestly.
Yeah, for
Which
sure.
is just like that's the worst part about it.
I mean, talk about a great container that also holds up in the fridge for a few days.
Yeah, dude,
For real.
legendary. Like pizza boxes. I love pizza boxes, but they suck because you can't put them in your fridge.
Real.
But you can't. The little white boxes are so iconic because they're not Tupperware enough that you feel like you're wasting something when you gotta like throw out like that
without a
Tupperware
doubt.
because you just don't want that crap Tupperware.
Yeah.
But they like hold it in enough like that at least it'll stay fresh for a couple days. If anything, you probably shouldn't be eating it after 2 or 3. But whatever.
Especially the places I go, they pack that MFer tight.
Yeah,
like a brick.
it's to the
Bricked.
seams. Yeah.
It is bricked up in there.
Yeah, when it gets all solid and stuff, and you like plop it in the plate and still
It's
retain
still
it.
bad.
It's
still
the
a brick,
best.
bro. It's crazy.
And then you got to take your little chopsticks and separate it a little bit, and then it all falls into place.
So
That's nice.
That's how you know this is. I chose the
And
right
it's
spot
brown.
for sure, and it's brown.
Yeah.
Literally. Even if you got like white rice, it's brown.
What do they do to it? Well, by the time you soak it in the thing, you're supposed to be soaking it in. I hope it's brown,
Yeah, no kidding.
or at least red.
No kidding.
I have a confession to make.
Let's hear it, man.
Let's hear it.
Ever since I was younger, I was a really picky eater, and I do not have a lot of experience with Chinese food. I probably only have had like there's only 1 or 2 Chinese dishes that I've enjoyed.
Ooh, a bit of Dan's Chinese history, Chinese takeout history.
Yeah, and we're specifically talking about Chinese takeout here because the second we talk about like all Chinese food, we start to
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have had real Chinese food.
no.
Yeah,
or at least
Yeah, I get you.
And,
Yeah,
and,
for
and
sure.
it's just
There's a
like
divide
it's just like with
between-
pizza. It's just like with like Indian food, and like we haven't talked about that, but like Middle Eastern food, we talked
Mexican
about that.
food.
Mexican food. I mean, like, it's with even American food. There is a culturally sort of accepted version. You know, when I say Chinese food, most people
course.
think of the white boxes. But if I said Chinese food to most of the population of the world, they would just probably consider that like, oh, you mean like food, like the food I grew up with. So it's very different. But our local audience, we're talking about takeout. Chinese takeout, folks, specifically.
Yeah.
We'll get to
strictly,
the.
I mean,
we'll get to the
that
Chinese cuisine episode later on once we get flown out. Once Western flies out Kzoo
once-
food to
yeah.
live broadcast.
Once we go
from
international here.
Pyongyang,
But
that's North Korea.
yeah, we're making that clear for sure. Chinese takeout. We don't want to cause any confusion here.
We will be live in Beijing in 2025.
24 hours actually.
24 hours
hours.
live in Beijing.
Stay tuned, folks.
Kzoo food.
So a bit of Dan's Chinese food history. 2 dishes, you said.
Yes.
What are they? Can you name them for us?
Hunan beef, like with vegetables and stuff. Hunan. Sorry.
Actually,
you're good.
I'm a
It don't,
big fan.
it don't even matter.
Hey, as long as you eating it, did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it.
As long as it's brown.
And orange chicken. But it depends on where. I feel like that's something that does vary a lot between
I
Chinese
agree
places.
because it's the orange is so different.
So different.
It's like a really orangey one is like, whoa, am I eating a candle?
And also, sometimes like some places you'll get it and the chicken's so good and crispy, and then you go to another place and the chicken's just kind of like, so it's like soft. It's just there. Yeah,
Into
yeah.
like all the water kind of
Yeah.
Definitely like reminds me of like
freshness.
Chinese buffet. The chicken there is so much different. There's so many different styles of Chinese that you can.
I love Chinese buffet. To me, Chinese buffet is also Chinese takeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's just different styles behind it. Like you can
Absolutely.
like, I would,
Different traditions.
well, I mean, the chicken at Panda Express is so much different than something you get at a actual Chinese buffet or
Exactly.
takeout.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like
Or a-
chicken
like a
nuggets at
restaurant.
Express.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, is actually fried chicken elsewhere.
100%. Now, Ryan, tell me about your previous experiences with Chinese food, like Chinese takeout specifically. Like, where are you getting it? At what times? And
At what time? Oh,
why?
I mean, when, why, how, and like all
the
above.
nouns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah,
above.
yeah.
Like Dan had said, I was a picky eater as a kid. I really didn't dive into the Chinese takeout, let alone Chinese cuisine aspect until later in my life. I mean, I'm not that old right now, but
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
but definitely like around like 5 years ago, I just started eating more. It started with orange chicken, of course.
That's
I feel
I feel like that's the gateway.
Yeah, literally the gateway, and then it's like there's so many different styles. You can get like Beijing beef. You can get like General Tso's. I mean, there's so many.
Oh, General Tso's good.
And
Yeah.
it's. Yeah, that's the history. I don't know where else to go. I mean, now I eat it. I eat it once a
all
week.
these
I eat it once a
dishes
week.
Once a week. Wow.
Once a week, and I mean, it's especially from the place I'm going to tell you about in a little bit, and the places I'll get into later. It's definitely a later night type
100%.
excursion for me.
Can't really do that in the morning. Can't have a whole quart of chicken lo mein at 8 a.m.
I definitely can.
Oh, I did this week, 100%.
but it's not natural.
Probably
nor-
definitely
yeah.
not the best for you. But what I do love about food all food, but especially when you're examining a culture's food or examining a specific like a cultural food, you can kind of see like all the dishes are just like variations on each other. So like orange chicken, General Tso's chicken are essentially just like that cornstarch fried chicken that we know covered in a more orangey sauce or a more like spicy, savory, peppery sauce.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
And I just love the colorful array and many different interpretations that have all sort of cemented themselves.
Sweet and sour.
You find you find them all together and everywhere. Like you can go to an Indian restaurant. I'll just use this cultural parallel. And I think like there's like always going to be like, even like if it's like the most Americanized one, it's gonna be like biryani, butter chicken, chicken tikka masala.
Yeah.
Right. But I feel like with Chinese food, it's just like Szechuan chicken. It's like it's got like 20 of those ones. It's got like the most iconic dishes,
Like array
of almost
yeah.
all time, like dishes. Because when I think
that's a bold claim, and I don't think it's far from the truth either.
100%, because
That's
like
pretty bold.
It's got fried rice, lo mein, and all these other dishes.
As sides options.
So it's just like to me, it's like there's no escaping it. It is everywhere.
So this does this describe your history? Let's bring your history into this.
It does, my friend, because this is why I have loved Chinese food ever since I was a wee boy. So I'm different. I'm different in this regard.
Gotcha.
It would be like if it wasn't pizza, it would be Chinese food for like the birthday
Really?
dinner.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And there was this spot I grew up next to called Great Wall in Battle Creek, Michigan. I really loved this spot, and I haven't been in many years. Last time I was there, it was right after a Bernie Sanders rally after he went to Kellogg's, if y'all remember that.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. I got there, holds up, great stuff, but I just remember that from my youth to today, it tastes the exact same and it has not decreased or changed. And I can imagine, the consistency of these 5, 20, 10,000 dishes. They're the same everywhere. The consistency is so consistent. It does vary, like you were saying, Dad. Dan. Like sometimes the chicken, it's like the crust isn't there, or like it's not as spiced, or there's something not there.
Is that what you're trying
but
to explain?
there's always like a through line that like a council got together and decided like we're gonna be able to like do this together.
Yeah, I get you.
But I guess it's the same with most other dishes. But to me, it's so prominent because of the just absolute amount of Chinese takeout available in all areas. Just it's everywhere.
The abundance of like
Abundance
restaurants.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm rambling on this, but I think it's multiple things. I think it's good. People like it. It's super reliable. It's a consistent product. People can go back
And
every day.
Incredibly cheap to produce.
I was just about to say that.
It is.
Especially for the amount you get. Like,
amount you get.
definitely you can get a full plate might be like, depending on your place, like $8 to $11, and that you could get fed for like 3 days.
Yeah. Well said, man. Yeah.
And also think about it, like it's kind of like a cultural, it's just cultural, kind of expected. If for example, let's say there's a power outage or something, or like you lose power on like a holiday or something, you always know that Chinese food is there for you.
Yeah. And
as a worst case,
what do Jewish people eat on Christmas? Chinese food. That is a tradition
Exactly.
now. It's like wow, it's just part of our lives down the street.
Yeah, in Times Square, they were having a celebration.
Yeah.
And they had Chinese food.
It's what you gotta have.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, I would have thought, because I got it, I got it too. I love Chinese food. You love Chinese food. And that gets us into our next segment. Dan, what is your favorite Chinese food?
My favorite Chinese food. What are we talking about? We're talking about a place or
the dish?
A dish.
Let's do a dish.
Yeah,
A dish?
yeah.
Well, I think
Your ideal setup.
Okay, let me think about this for a second. I definitely think
Take your time.
gonna be rice. Definitely rice for sure. We're gonna have rice.
Fried or white?
That is a good question.
Because the fried one declumps, but the white is all clumped together sometimes, and I like that.
Jasmine?
Jasmine, yeah.
I like fried rice, but I prefer it without peas. Sometimes
I'm a
they'll
pea
include
man.
peas and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I don't hate peas, but I feel like it just takes away from it instead of adds to it.
Wow, it's a subtraction by addition, is what you're saying.
Yes, correct.
Wow.
Exactly.
Understood.
I feel like sometimes less is more, and sometimes I just want to taste the sauce and I want to taste the rice.
It's like when you're throwing avocado in a grilled cheese. It's just like
Exactly. And then
That was funny for all those.
yeah.
I mean, Cully was giving the stare down.
stares at me.
alongside the rice, gonna have to go for some sort of spicy chicken. I'm a sucker for spicy food. That's
Me
one
too.
thing,
Love it.
which is why I feel like I should be trying more new foods. Chinese food, for example. I've never had Indian food. I would love to try Indian food.
What, dude? We got to do an episode on that.
Oh, we definitely.
I should start bringing in chefs, dude.
I could talk a lot about some good
That'd be
Indian
fun.
food, bro.
We're just like guys who've been working all day and haven't eaten except for a bag of crackers, and we're just
Little
talking about
cracker.
food.
I had a Sprout pizza earlier.
It's just all sprout pizza. That sounds good. What did you get? Pepperoni or?
Of
cheese?
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I was talking to Ryan about this a little earlier, but I've been trying not to eat so much meat recently, which I guess is a topic we could talk about on the pod, because it's just like, this is a food podcast. Yeah. It mainly came down to I'm taking a class called Animals and Religion, and we're going over a lot of just like the ethical treatment of animals and how it relates to religion, and religion. Has it justified this? Do they exist in dichotomy? But we see a lot of videos of what's actually going down in some of these places. And when that's like your class, like I have this twice a week, it's really hard to like eat after.
Yeah.
I
Look
get
at food
that.
the same a little bit.
Yeah.
When I was, I guess it gets you to eat local and eat fresh, I guess.
Yeah, I mean but I think we live in just a world where it's not that difficult to just kind of phase meat out of your life. Most places have if there is like a burger or something, they have like a substitute, but also like most foods don't have meat. Like pizza don't need meat, man.
That's real.
All right.
Gotcha.
I'm
Don't even think about it.
And I just need to tell y'all, you're listening to 89.1 WIDR FM. This is
Don't
your
forget
source
it.
for radio evolution, and this is Kzoo Food. You are tuned in. Let's get right back to it, guys.
Chinese
Topic of
takeout.
conversation, Chinese takeout.
So thanks for sharing your favorite dish, Dan. Cole, you want to take it away on your next dish?
Not too dissimilar to my man Dan. I really like rice.
Real.
I think I go white rice usually, actually, just because I think it like the flavor of the rice kind of comes through.
Yeah, I
and
totally
really
get it.
like that.
Of course.
And I like a really good spicy tofu dish. I love the texture of tofu specifically. I kind of like anything just like
Squishy?
gummy.
Yeah,
squishy kind.
I'll say I'm the opposite. tofu, the flavor isn't bad. I don't like the texture of it. It's a little weird.
You got to get the texture right, I guess. Like,
it's acquired taste.
yeah,
as well.
and it's also like there's different firmnesses.
That
of
makes
it,
sense.
And I think I like loose and firm, and some people like loose, some people like firm. So
that makes sense.
I mean, it is a little weird texture when you first get into it, but once you eat it more often, then it's like, I guess.
It's like mushrooms. Like a lot of people don't like mushrooms for the texture, and I didn't for a while. But after you eat enough mushrooms, it's a lot better.
Some shroomies.
But like a good spicy stewed curried tofu to me, I can usually get that anywhere, and it usually goes by the name of mapo tofu, which is a dish that was cooked by my roommate originally. Like I had it for the first time, my roommate cooked it for me, and so to see it on a menu, I was like, oh yeah, I'll try it out. His version was better. I was thinking my home cooked,
Yeah.
plus whatever, but it's still classic. That and something I love above anything else on a Chinese takeout menu is the fried dumplings. No matter where they are great. Just to me, they are so satisfying to eat. But I do specifically like the ones that are very doughy and have like almost like a sausage level of like rich brown saucy meat in the middle. And it's because sometimes they're a little heavy on ginger, and I'm a little sensitive to ginger. So but I love flavor, and I'll smack them no matter what they are.
So this dish, if you were to look in Kalamazoo for this dish, where may you find this?
I can't. Okay, I'm about to tell you. Okay, Rice Kitchen is the spot.
Rice
They
Kitchen.
have it there, and it's really good.
Gotcha.
But I do got to tell them to make it spicy. But they
Make it spicy?
They do that. They do it by request.
Love me more spice, that's for sure.
Yeah, I say, please make it spicy, sir. And then they started laughing at me.
That always happens to me. Whenever I ask for something spicy, they're like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah. This guy, he literally had a villain laugh. He was like, I was just like,
All right, man. Sure,
don't spin it, man.
Putting battery acid in it.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. All right, Ryan. How about you, man? What's the most best dish ever?
Oh, man, this is tough. Oh, I love Chinese takeout so much.
What are you getting on those days? If you get it weekly, what are you usually getting?
Yeah, if like consistently, if I know I'm getting Chinese takeout that day and I'm fiending for it, I already know. I start with my sides. I'm getting half lo mein, half fried rice. I love the mix of the noodles and the rice. And,
dude,
and the chicken all together too, because I'm getting half General Tso's and half orange chicken. I love orange chicken.
Do they charge you for both, or do they kind of just like?
I don't know. I don't know if it's extra. I don't know, but I'm doing it. I want it. I want the mix of everything, and then I get my styrofoam plate. Usually, if I get it in from Great Wall, I'll get it in a styrofoam plate, and I'll shake it all up together, and mixes the chicken up with the noodles and the rice, and you just scoop it in your mouth. So again, chow down, and I'll get me on the side some crab rangoons or cream cheese. Sorry, cream cheese rangoons. I guess crab you can get sometimes too at some places.
Well, most times they do have crab
both.
in them.
Yeah, sometimes
it's
it
cream
doesn't
cheese
have
in
it.
the crab, but usually it's imitation crab.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But which I actually love.
Hey, I'm tasting it, so
yeah. I think imitation crab, and just like most imitation sushi, great. And like most Chinese takeout restaurants, you can get sushi from too, which is just like
without a doubt.
I don't usually, just because like if I'm feeding for sushi, I can usually get it really cheap just at Western. But
I'll say, I had crab rangoons. I'm not a fan. I discovered that
can you describe to me, because they're so different? This is the one
I've been told
spring
they
rolls
vary
and
a
crab
lot.
rangoons. Isn't that interesting that spring rolls and crab rangoons vary so much? Because to me, those are like, depending on where you're at, ones. It's so different.
Yeah.
It had like cream cheese as well in it. I believe. I think it was more so the cheese. I wasn't a fan. It was just very
Too much.
It was a little creamy. I don't know how to explain it, but it just didn't match.
It is just cream cheese and like a wonton. So like if you're really thinking about what this is,
heavy on the stomach.
It's kind of understandable that it's not the most appetizing.
We're running out of time here, so why don't we move this on to the last little topic here we got? A hot or not? Do we want to introduce this fun little game to the people here?
Absolutely.
Hot or
here.
not? You're gonna have to
So
tell
what do
me
you got
about
for
it.
it? Yeah, what do you got
I
for
got
us, Cully?
here a list of the most classic dishes. And all I need to hear from you is hot or not. And then at the end, we will determine the most ultimate dish in all.
Hot.
The hottest one. Right
Hey,
now.
sorry y'all, we have to end Kzoo food a little early this week. Hot or Not is going to be returning for like probably most of the future episodes. That sounds like a lot of fun to do, and we're going to have a lot more engaging stuff in the future, so stay tuned. Again, sorry we're ending it early. Stay tuned for next episode. Again, Chinese takeout. What a great topic to discuss here today. Follow us on our socials, WIDRFM, as well as keep checking out Kzoo food. Take care, Kalamazoo.